Hey everybody, how's it going? I just got to see Kung Fu Panda 4 with my good friend Andrew and a bunch of other awesome people on opening night. It was a lot of fun. And now I'm going to go ahead and rank the entire series of Kung Fu Panda movies. So I went ahead and I watched 1 through 3 earlier in like the week, just, to refresh myself and get myself caught up just so all the movies are fresh in my mind so I can rank all 4 properly. It's a fun series of movies. It was a lot of fun to get to rewatch these. It had been a long time for me. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and rank the 4 movies, and I'm also going to have my friend Andrew join me, and he's going to give you his ranking as well. So as for my ranking, I'm going to rank them literally in order. My favorite of the series is the original. I think it's just, you can't really beat it. It's just a great movie. It's the one that kicked off the whole series, and it's just a great movie. So many great characters, the Furious Five, Po, Shifu, Tai Lung, great villain, and it's a great movie, and I don't think any of the others beat it. But a close second, the second movie. I think the second one is a really good follow-up. Even though it's not quite as good, it's only slightly not as good. Another great villain with Shen, and then all the same good characters: Furious Five, Po, Shifu, all these good characters coming back. Great movie, still the same kind of funny but also meaningful, good life messages, just like the first one. So very close second. Then third, I have the third movie. I don't really Poe's Panda Dad, the Bryan Cranston Panda. Just he's kind of more annoying to me than he is funny. I just find him kind of irritating. So kind of a lot of the characters in the Panda Village I found kind of annoying, which kind of takes that movie down a bit. Still a good movie overall. Still all the kind of classic characters and good stuff. And Kai I think is a cool villain, but that movie just kind of, it starts to go a little bit, still a good movie, but just definitely definitely a step down, from the previous 2. And then the new one, the fourth one, is dead last, by a lot. It's not a bad movie. I didn't dislike it. I just think it's the first and only movie in the series that I would just definitively say is right down the middle, just kind of an average, okay movie. It just, it's not the same. And I guess the biggest problem, really for me, or one of the biggest problems, is the fact that the Furious Five are just totally cut out of the movie. And I mean, I guess they must have done that just because they didn't want to have to hire the expensive voice actors and actresses to come and do the the parts. But I just think cutting them out was a huge mistake. They're a part of the reason why the series is so good, and cutting them out was just, it's not the same without them. You got Po and you got Shifu, but even Shifu had a reduced role in this movie. And then the villain, the Chameleon, I just didn't find that interesting. She was really overpowered for a lot of it, and then she was kind of beaten quickly at the end. It was just kind of this, I don't know, just not that great of a villain to me. And then Aquafina's character, no disrespect at all towards Aquafina, but with all due respect, I find a lot of her roles annoying, and this falls in that same kind of majority of her roles, right? I just found this to be really annoying. It's just she's just a really annoying character in this movie, and as soon as I saw that she'd be in the movie, I was kind of skeptical, and I was right, and as soon as they said in the movie, oh yeah, they're going to have a new Dragon Warrior, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, huge surprise, she ended up becoming the new Dragon Warrior, right? So that was just very predictable, and I totally saw it coming. It's just kind of annoying, so that irritated me. And then, Poe's Panda Dad got a really big role in this movie again. Like I said before, I just find him kind of annoying. Mr. Ping is funny. I like him. I'm glad he got a big role. But I find, Lee, Poe's Panda Dad, I find him just kind of irritating. But, there's still some good stuff in this movie, too. Still some humor, not as much. And still some of the good messaging. I love the fact that the Kung Fu Panda series, just as a whole, every movie, they all have nice, good life messages and meaningful stuff. There's still some of that here. Didn't land nearly as well as it did for a lot of the earlier movies, but it's still there, and that's I think a core part of this series is that it does, they're funny, movies, they're fun, they got cool action, but they also do have good, genuine life messages and share a lot of cool stuff that kids and adults can learn from alike. So there's a lot of cool things that are shared in these movies, and I think this movie does that, but just overall, just not nearly as good as the other 3. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Now let's hear from Andrew.
Alright people, so coming at y'all with my Kung Fu Panda rankings. I love these movies and I grew up with them, so they have a special place in my heart. But easily coming in at number 4 is the new Kung Fu Panda 4, which I didn't really have any high hopes for because I didn't really love the trailers, and the movie kind of lived up to that hype that I brought to it. The supporting characters just aren't nearly as good with the Furious 5 not being in it. The villain is just kind of a cliche at this point. The story is just kind of a basic Kung Fu Panda story. I don't really feel like it expands on the universe very well. So just overall, I think Poe kind of regressed as a character. It didn't really do it for me, honestly. So that one's easily last. And then coming in at number 3, it's Kung Fu Panda 3, which there are good parts to this. But overall, I'm not really in love with it. I think Kai is a solid villain. I think that's his name. And there are some heartwarming parts and emotional beats that Kung Fu Panda 4 definitely doesn't have. But overall, I just don't think it's as funny as the first two, or as adventurous, or as emotional, and I don't think the message is as good. And then coming in at number 2 is Kung Fu Panda 2, which I think is the most mature story-wise. I think it's an ideal sequel in terms of how you follow up with number 1 and growing in characters and such. I think Lord Shin's probably the best villain overall, even though I think I prefer Tai Lung for the first one. Overall, it's just a great, solid movie, and definitely a worthy addition to the franchise. And then Kung Fu Panda 1 comes at number 1. This might just be because I'm super nostalgic for it, but that's the one I kind of grew up on, and that's the one I think is the funniest, and the one I keep coming back to the most.
All right, so Andrew and I have the same ranking. We definitely have some very similar thoughts about the whole series. Now that we've shared our opinions, we want to hear your opinions. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How do you rank the Kung Fu Panda movies? We want to see a bunch of rankings in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching. We both really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Andrew, for joining me for my video.